Good morning and welcome. I'm Lisa Schaefer and I will serve as your worship associate this morning, joined by our guest speaker and my husband, Steve Bartram. And welcome to those of you who are participating on the internet as well. If you're on Zoom and you have your own chalice or candle, please get it now so you'll be ready when we do our chalice lighting. And if you're here in the amphitheater, we're happy to see you. Please silence your cell phones or any other noise-making devices. And if you need a listening device, please raise your hand and the ushers will bring you one. So welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of San Diego. Let's just take a deep breath together in gratitude that we are alive and here in this beautiful place with the opportunity to worship together. And maybe one more, because that felt good. This is the place where we come to find support and connection. This is the place where we search for life's meaning. This is the place where we encourage each other to live our lives with compassion, consistent with our 7 principles. This is the place where we put our values into action. Whatever your age, ability, race, ethnicity, gender identity, sexual orientation, economic circumstance, family structure, or any other identity, you are welcome here. This is a place where we practice unconditional love. And in these uncertain and ever-changing times, this is a place where we do our best to provide a safe space in which we can build and strengthen our community. We need each other. We need to be together. And we appreciate your patience and cooperation in our efforts to ensure that our in-person experience is safe for everyone, and that those who are not ready or able to return in person can worship with us remotely. If you're visiting today for the first time or nearly the first time, we'd like to get to know you and welcome you. So if you're comfortable doing so, would you please stand and tell us your name and where you're from, if we have any visitors? Can you say your name really loud or take... Okay? And very welcome. Nice to have you here. Anybody else? Okay. So we are an active congregation, and you can keep informed through our newsletter, our website, the bulletin board, the happenings table. Oh, we don't have a happenings table, sorry. The bulletin board and the weekly order of service announcements. We don't yet have a happenings table back. And if you wish to know more about this fellowship, we encourage all of you, and especially our visitors, to visit our website at UUFSD.org, where you can find information about what's happening in our fellowship and the many, many ways to get involved. And you can also find information there to sign up for our newsletter. We have a pastoral care team, and they are here for you. If you are in need of support, you can email pastoralcare@UUFSD and give them your contact information. If you're comfortable, also tell them what your need is so they are better able to respond. I don't think we have a pastoral listener here today in person. Okay, so it'll be email. We do? What? Oh, sorry. Ernie back there is our pastoral listener, so you can find him on the patio after the service if you are in need of support. Thank you, Ernie. Okay, a few announcements. A reminder that Reverend Joe's installation is October 17th at 10 a.m. right here. And today is the deadline to send in your RSVP. If you have not already responded, please do so today. We're having a catered lunch, socially distant, outdoors on the patio after the installation service, and we need to know how many people will be there. If you didn't get the invitation or you have questions, you can contact Tracy, our congregational administrator, at office@uufsd.org and let her know you're coming or ask her your questions. And we look forward to seeing everyone there. The Helping Our Neighbors project is designating our weekly food collection for the Colonia de Eden Garden Preschool in Solana Beach. We're asking for specific individually packaged snack items like cheese and crackers, baby carrots, granola bars, juices, etc. You may have noticed the food collection basket at the usher stand being modeled by Vanna White Wheeler, our usher. Please leave your donations in that basket. And for those of you participating on Zoom, you can bring your food donations to the office on Tuesday between 9 and noon. And thank you very much for your generosity. One more announcement. As you know, you may know, Livia Walsh and Irv Himmelblau each week collect flowers from donated by Trader Joe's. And the flowers are on the patio by the memorial wall, and we invite everyone to stop by after the service, take some flowers either for yourself or to brighten someone else's day. And now, a word from our board vice president, Brenda Post.
Good morning. I first want to say thank you so much for bringing proof of vaccine. You've helped us out enormously. It's so nice to see you all in person again. And we're looking for a few good volunteers. Actually, we're looking for a new board member. Hopefully, if you could position from the board. We thank him for everything he did. He was a true leader. Has done a lot, and for personal reasons, he needed to step down. And what that does is it leaves us a position open on the board that only is for 7 months. So if you ever felt the calling to be on the board and see what it's like, this is the least skin in the game possibility that you could have. And I mean that in all seriousness. I'm on a 1-year term myself, and it's been really great so that now I know when my term is up, if I really want to be on a 3-year term, I'll know that at the end of this year. I would encourage anyone who has felt the calling to step up and serve this wonderful community. We have some exciting things to do this year. Obviously, it's some challenging times. We're making the best decisions that we can, and that's really our role, to make great decisions on behalf of this community and this congregation. Please, if you're interested, talk to one of the board members, myself or Leora or Angie, or Wenda is here. Wenda, can you just raise your hand a little bit? Wenda is chair of the nominating committee. You can speak to any of us after this service. We would love, love, love another person to help us with our mission this year. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brenda. We come together to reaffirm our commitment to this community and to our UU principles that guide us in living a moral and ethical life. Welcome. We're glad you're all here. And to reaffirm our commitment and our connection, please take a minute to stand in body or spirit and say hello to those around you, especially those you might not know, and give a warm welcome to our visitors. And we'll ring the bell in a minute to call you back to your seats. We'll begin our service with hymn number 1023, Building Bridges. Please stay standing and join in singing.
As you're turning, good morning everybody, as you're turning to hymn number 1023, just a quick plug. My name is Marshall Voigt. I'm the music director here at the fellowship. Similarly to the board position that's only 7 months, In 2 weeks' time, we're installing Reverend Joe as our minister, and the choir will be singing live. So if you've ever thought, oh, maybe I like to sing a little bit, I'm not sure if I want to join the choir, we're meeting today after the service. We'll meet next Sunday morning after the service, and we'll sing on October 17th. And if that's the commitment that you're happy to make, we would love to have you join us over the next few weeks to sing for Rev Joe's installation. So our first meeting is today at 11:30. No experience necessary. Come and sing, and let's start by singing together hymn number 1023.
Please be seated. Thank you. Our call to worship is a quote from Martin Luther King Jr. from his advice column called Advice for Living, which ran in the late 1950s in Ebony magazine. The basic question posed to Dr. King was, is love really the solution for the race problem? Are there not times when a man must stand up and fight fire with fire? In his response, he said, I am convinced that love is the most durable power in the world. It is not an expression of impractical idealism, but of practical realism. To return hate for hate does nothing but intensify the existence of evil in the universe. Someone must have sense enough and religion enough to cut the chain of hate and evil, and this can only be done with love. Moreover, love is creative and redemptive. Love builds up and unites. Hate tears down and destroys. The aftermath of the fight fire with fire method, which you suggest, is bitterness and chaos. The aftermath of the love method is reconciliation and the creation of a beloved community. As a UU congregation, we are guided by the principles of our faith, which call on us to take action to dismantle racism in ourselves and our institutions in order to build a diverse, multiracial, beloved community. To this end, we take a moment to acknowledge the land on which we stand. I'm going to light this candle and then read the land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that this land is the traditional territory of the Kumeyaay and Luiseño people. The surrounding mountains, desert, canyons, and shorelines are imbued with their presence. We seek to nurture our relationship with our indigenous neighbors and our shared responsibilities to this place, their homeland, where we mutually abide. Our chalice lighter this morning is Robin Sales. The Unitarian Universalist Flaming Chalice represents our shared history, hope, and commitment to the principles of our faith that joins us together. Those of you at home are now invited to join us in lighting a candle or chalice and holding it up to your camera so we can share our light together. Our chalice lighting is called A Chalice Lighting for When Things Aren't Okay by Molly Brewer. Thank you. My beloved people, I cannot pretend, and so I will not tell you that everything is okay right now, that there is no reason to be angry, that you must be optimistic or at peace. I cannot pretend these things, and so I won't tell them to you. But now our chalice is lit, and so all I ask in this moment is that we remember the words of Rebecca Parker. There is love. There is love holding us. There is a love calling us all. By the light of this chalice, let us rest in this love. And now please rise in body or spirit to sing our centering hymn, Spirit of Life, followed by the recitation of our covenant. The words to both are in your order of service. Love be the spirit of this congregation. May the quest for truth be its sacrament and service be its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, and to help one another in fellowship. This is our covenant.
As we transition into a moment of intergenerational sharing, you may be seated. I'm going to pass the microphone to Steve, but not after just a moment of gratitude to Kathy Leach Phillips for helping to lead our gathering hymn.
All right. If you can, I ask the children to come up and sit with me. We'll sit in the shade. So come on up here. Come on. Grab one of those little pillows right there. I don't want you to sit on this hard stuff. See, I got one earlier. Come on down, guys. You can sit right here. See, this is really cool because I get to have this book right here, and you get to see the pictures. These are, sit down, grab a cushion. Yeah, right there. Cool. Can I ask a favor? I'm going to hold the book. Could you hold this so I can talk? Oh, cool. Okay, this is called The Kissing Hand. You ever heard this story? No, really good. You have? Oh, don't tell anybody about the secret. Okay, not yet. Okay. You have? Good for you. The Kissing Hand. So it's by Audrey Penn. This is the book that I gave to my daughter, and I read it to her when she was getting ready. And she spilled water on it. That's why this all is wrinkled. Okay. All right. So this is the story about Chester Raccoon. And raccoons all go to school at night. Do you know that? Yeah, they do. So Chester Raccoon stood at the edge of the forest and cried, "I don't want to go to school," he told his mother. "I want to stay home with you. I want to play with my friends and play with my toys and read my books and swing on my swing. Please, may I stay home with you?" Look at that sad little face. Mrs. Raccoon took Chester by the hand and nuzzled him in the ear. Sometimes we all have to do things we don't want to do. Is that true? Yeah, really. Sometimes you'll have things you don't want to do, even if they seem strange and scary at first, but you will love school once you start. Are you in school yet?
Yes.
You are? Good for you. You are? Great. Look at this. You will make new friends and play with new toys. He's got a new friend, like a red-headed woodpecker, and he's from the sandbox. See, they can't see this, but they don't care. Okay. Read new books, swing on new swings. Besides, she added, I know a wonderful secret that will make your nights at school seem as warm and cozy as your days at home. Remember, raccoons go to school at night. Chester wiped away his tears and looked interested. A secret? What kind of secret? Very old secret, said Mrs. Raccoon. I learned it from my mother, and she learned it from hers. It's called the kissing hand. The kissing hand, Chester said. What's that? Look at him. He's really curious. Curious guy, yeah. Ooh, see, this is my daughter put this in here. Isn't that cute? Yeah, it's nice. See, I'll show everybody. Okay, I'll show you. Mrs. Raccoon took Chester's left hand and spread open his tiny fingers into a fan. Leaning forward, she kissed Chester right in the palm of his hand. Chester felt his mother's kiss rush from his hand up his arm and into his heart. Even his silky black mask tingled with special warmth. Isn't that cool? Look at that. Mrs. Raccoon smiled. Now, she told Chester, whenever you feel lonely and need a little loving from home, just press your hand to your cheek. Go ahead and do that. Press your hand to your cheek. Yeah, really. Press your hand to your cheek and say, "Mommy loves you. Mommy loves you." And that very kiss will jump to your face and fill you with toasty, warm thoughts. See, there they are. She took Chester's hand and carefully wrapped her fingers around the kiss. Now be careful not to lose it. Don't worry. When you open your hand and wash your food, I promise it will stick, because they're very clean. They wash your hands. Chester loved his kissing hand. Now he knew his mother's love would go with him wherever he went, even to school. See, there he is. He's got his hand with him. He's playing with it. Isn't that cool? All right. That night, Chester stood in front of the old school and looked thoughtful. Suddenly, he turned to his mother and grinned. "Give me your hand," he told her. Chester took his mother's hand in his own and enfolded her large, familiar fingers into a fan. Next, he leaned forward and kissed the center of her hand. "Now you have a kissing hand, too," he told her. And with a gentle goodbye and "I love you," Chester turned and danced away. Mrs. Raccoon watched Chester go into the night school, and the hoot owl and all the people were there. The warmth of Chester's kiss filled her heart with special words. "Chester loves you," it sang. "Chester loves you." And that's the story, the kissing hand. Thank you.
Please join in singing our children off to their classes. The words, I think, are in the order of service. They're not, but we know them. As we leave this friendly place, love gives light to every face. May the kindness which we learn guide our hearts to return. As we leave this place, love gives light to every face. May the kindness which we learn light our hearts to return. This fellowship exists because generous people have provided the resources to fund the construction and maintenance of our physical property, to hire and support the minister and staff, and to offer programs and other activities in support of our mission. If this community matters to you, if you have benefited from being here, and if you want to see UUFSD continue and thrive, please give generously, as the offering is now gratefully received. For the folks on Zoom, we haven't forgotten you. Please follow the donation instructions on the screen. Thank you for your generosity. We have a new way of sharing joys, sorrows, concerns, and transitions as we are now in person. At the greeters table, we had this book where we could write our joys and sorrows, and I will read them now. We also have some time on the Zoom for people to write in the chat box if they have a joy or sorrow to share with this community. After I've read what's written in the book, I will invite those who wish to come up and offer a silent joy, sorrow, concern, or transition symbolically by dropping a stone in the water so that your joys will spread like the water does and your sorrows will be diminished as they are shared by all. So in our book, we have, my dearest friend Eileen lost her mother to cancer this week, a prayer for her comfort and release. And huge concern about the oil spill off the coast of Huntington Beach, impacting the environment, sea life, birds, and more. And now if anyone would like to come up and drop a stone for their own joy, sorrow, concern, or transition, you're welcome to do so. For all the joys shared here or those held quietly, we join you in celebration. For the sorrows spoken and unspoken, we hold you in our hearts. Now let us enter into a time of silence for meditation, reflection, or prayer by singing our chant. The time of silence will end with the sound of the bell.
When I breathe in
The reading is a quote from Poe Murray, the chairperson and executive director of the Newtown Foundation, the sponsor of the Sandy Hook Vigils. On March 24th, 2021, Poe Murray spoke these words. These are valid today, 3 October. Once again, Americans are grieving over lives lost to another mass shooting. On Monday, 10 people, including a police officer, were killed in Boulder, Colorado, King Soopers grocery store. 6 days ago, we began mourning the deaths of 8 people killed in Atlanta. Sadly, my family and are no strangers to this type of tragedy. A small comment. The Kissing Hand book I read to each of my daughters. They kissed my hand. Okay. My name is Steve Bartram, and I have been an active participant in this fellowship for more than 10 years. I love being here and being in our community. I am committed to the principles we espouse. I'm trying to do better. I've been on several committees and even helped prepare and paint the roof on the minister's office. To set this morning's sermon up, I want to start with a visualization. Close your eyes if you want. What I want you to do right now is to think about a child who is 6, 7, or 8 and hold their hands as if crossing the street with them. It's a small, warm grip that jiggles as you semi-hop along. Feel it? Actually happen for you? If they begin to fall, you hold them up, keeping them safe. I've done this 100 times with my 3 girls. Although the feeling of energy and life that flows from those small fingers straight to my heart. Now imagine the effects of a weapon that destroys that life, blows their bodies to shreds. Getting the picture? This happened to a parent in Miami. Death happened on the 24th of May, 2010 to my nephew, Kyle Bartram, when he was 13 years old. We don't know if it was self-inflicted or an accidental gunshot that killed him. Either way, his precious life was ended. An experience like that changes you. I was dumbfounded and distraught, angry, confused, stunned. Death happened on 20 July 2012 at the Century 16 Cinema in Aurora, Colorado, where a disturbed gunman killed 12 and injured 70. The vision of the words of Sandy and Lonnie Phillips sit with me. They are parents of one of the victims. This is from Sandy and Lonnie Phillips' book, Tragedy in Aurora. In which they talk about the death of their daughter at the movie theater in Aurora, Colorado on that fateful evening in July. This is a quote from page 191 of that book describing her daughter Jessica's grievous injury. This is after she was already shot several times in the legs and what would become her fatal wound. She was describing this at the Senate hearings. One of the high-velocity bullets fired from the Smith & Wesson M&P 15 semi-automatic assault rifle had struck Jessie on the left side of her face. The high-velocity round had realized its terrible wounding potential for which it was designed, and had blown away half her face and much of her brain. Death happened on December 14th, 2012. Sandy Hook Elementary School when a mentally ill man murdered 6 staff members and 26 and 7-year-old children. Now I'm both frustrated and angry and really sad. Overwhelmed and disjointed, I cried. I thought about my daughters when they were 6 and 7 years old. I was scared. As a Marine, I never had a weapon. I never used a weapon in conflict. I was prepared and really proficient. I was damn good, to tell you the truth. and well trained in the use of an M16 assault rifle and both a 9mm and 38 caliber handguns. I know the destructive force and have seen the consequences of power of a bullet. When I saw that power being used to slaughter innocent victims, I needed to find a way to help reduce gun violence. Fear is an awesome motivator. That fear sits with me. It clouds my heart. I feel the pain of loss in my soul. It is a fear that rests there in the dark place. Remember these words? Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. I have come to realize my fear became resolve because I could not let that fear win. The problem is I took my anger with me, and it's part of what I carry. I'm working on it. You can see some of my anger, and I regret it shows. It's insidious. I feel called to action to work on gun violence prevention, GVP, fear of suffering and the loss of life. Despite feelings of frustration, the seemingly endless news of mass shootings, accidental death of children playing with unsecured guns, individual homicides, gun suicides, I had hope. Hope and faith that public pressure and activism will make a difference and can bring about more common sense gun regulations. Reverend Jim Grant has helped me. He's helped all of us, I think. His sermon on grace rests with me. Part of my journey to activism is based on keeping the ideals of our faith within my heart. His words stay with me and offer a much-needed link from faith to commitment. We feel the faith in our principles and complete that circle with a choice of commitment. That choice is ours to make. I started joining every GVP organization around, running from my fear. Starting in 2013, Reverend David, I looked to the congregation in this faith community for support. To me, the first UU principle of respecting the inherent worth and dignity of every person includes working to prevent loss of innocent life by gunfire. I'm here today to share my journey with you in that struggle. Each major gun incident seems to have spawned a new organization. I've joined them all. I joined a really new San Diego group with affiliations with the Brady campaign. Remember Brady? He was wounded in the assassination attempt of Ronald Reagan. He and his wife created the Brady campaign and succeeded in getting the Brady Bill enacted as one of the first pieces of national gun legislation. I joined the organization Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America. Moms. The local leader was Nancy Fadick. She's since moved on and become a higher leader with the organization. Moms was one of the groups started by mothers in the aftermath of Sandy Hook. I met Carol Landau and Wendy Recroft, two teachers, who formed the San Diego's for Gun Violence Prevention. It took them 3 years to complete this forceful group. We started off with one group, and then it went to another, and then they finally said, okay, let's get together. And they did. These people are leaders. A group you may know as Never Again California, a coalition of many activists and groups who began nearly 5 years ago with a small band of Del Mar and Solana Beach residents who held signs outside the Del Mar County Fairgrounds during the quarterly Crossroads of the West gun shows. It took 2 years, but we no longer see gun shows at the fairgrounds. Roseanne and Ira Sharp brought that success. With these groups, I have lobbied congressional representatives in Washington, D.C., organized vigils, stood on street corners, waved posters, and marched. I've helped raise awareness through proclamations in 11 school districts and the San Diego Unified School District in support of SD for GVP. That's the parent organization that I supported, and I helped do their little work. Local cities have passed GVP ordinance and proclamations. At every step, I tried to engage UUFSD.